All major chords are fifths.
Drop the needle, cue the numbers. Colliers loop theory fires off at 100 beats per minute, exactly 5/3 beats per second. That isn't just round number neatness, it's auditory ergonomics. Human hearts at rest average 60 to 80 beats per minute, so 100 nudges you into a mild cardio zone. Your blood does a little fist pump, your brain releases an anticipatory squirt of dopamine, and suddenly the track feels right. Why? Because 100 factors cleanly, 2 squared times 5 squared. Every subdivision, halftime drops at 50 beats per minute, double time hi-hats at 200, lands on integers. Your motor cortex adores integers. They're the IKEA instructions of rhythm. Zoom in further. The bass oscillates at 50 Hz. That's a wavelength of approximately 6.8 meters. Fold it up 3 octaves times 8, and you're sitting on 400 Hz, middle G just above concert pitch. Beneath the club lights, you're surfing a standing sine wave big enough to wrap around a school bus, yet you perceive only the crisp octave up top. Your ears are time domain microscopes. Collier knows exactly which specimen slides to show them. Pythagoras in a hoodie. Picture the OG math bro sawing a lyre string. When he halved it, the pitch doubled. 2 to 1, the octave. Chop to 2/3 of the length and you get the perfect fifth, 3 to 2. Those ratios are low entropy. They repeat quickly, so the air molecules vibrate in cooperative alignment instead of quarrelsome chaos. That cooperation registers as consonance. Fast forward to Collier's chorus, a pad swells C, G, C in just intonation purity before a beat-matched filter sweeps it into equal-tempered space, sharpening the G by 2 cents. You feel a shimmer, tiny beats between nearly aligned wave crests. Dissonance, maybe. Spice, definitely. Modern producers weaponize the difference between integer ratios, ancient Greek calm, and irrational 12's root of 2 offsets Industrial Revolution angst. It's yin-yang on a fretboard. The geometry of groove. Take a circular pizza. Mark 12 o'clock as beat 1. Cut 4 equal slices. 4/4, every quarter note, a slice. Now cut the same pie into 7. Welcome to Balkan brass, where the dancer's hips reset only after 7 counts. Mathematicians call this modular arithmetic. Drummers call it make sure no one trips. Enter Euclidean rhythms, 2004, Toussaint. Distribute K beats as evenly as possible among N slots. E 3.8 equals the tresillo, the backbone of reggaeton and shape of you. E 513, that's take 5 wearing exotic perfume. Spin the circle, shade the beats, you've drawn rhythmic DNA. No wonder visualizers of Ableton clips look like mandalas. Bach's Sonic Kaleidoscope. 1747. Frederick the Great hands Bach a theme so knotted most composers would politely faint. Bach smiles, packs it into a 6-part risacar, then writes a crab canon, a melody that moonwalks while simultaneously sprinting forward. Fold the parchment in the middle, each note kisses its twin. That's dihedral symmetry of order 2, flip plus shift. Play it on a Mobius strip and the melody never finds an edge. Topology with harpsichords. Modern group theory classes drool over this. Elements, transformations, retrograde, inversion, transposition. The set forms a group under composition. Bach wasn't scribbling abstract algebra on napkins, yet his ears were tuned to the cosmic click of operation tables. The Golden Playlist. Phi approximately 1.618 crops up in Pinecone's spiral galaxies, and rumor says every Spotify earworm. Empirical check. Open Collier's waveform. Locate the loudest snare hit in the drop. Measure its position from the beginning of the track. Odds are unsettlingly high. It lands near 61.8%. Listeners report maximum goosebump density there. Coincidence? Maybe. Survivorship bias? Possibly. But plenty of composers hedge bets. Bartók organized entire movements so climaxes and key changes arrive at phi cuts. John Williams plants the binary sunset swell in Star Wars at minute 310 of a 510 Voila, golden. Why does phi tickle? One theory, it balances predictability, we sense the build, and surprise, we mispredict the exact instant. Brains are Bayesian casinos, phi might be the house edge. Fourier, the ultimate DJ. Take any waveform, scream 808 Nightingale, and Monsieur Fourier will decompose it into a stack of pure sine waves, each with amplitude and phase. He's the original remix artist, turning time domain chaos into frequency domain order. Your phone performs an FFT 44,100 times every second. It bins Colliers bass into 1,024 buckets, keeps the juicy 0 to 20 kilohertz goodies your Cochlear loves, dumps ultrasonic fluff, then zip ties the survivors into packets smaller than a selfie. That's MP3 compression in a nutshell. Save what the brain can't live without, ghost the rest. Zoom out. DJs carving out room for vocals with a 3 decibel scoop at 250 Hz are literally repainting the Fourier portrait, airbrushing extra chin fat off the frequency face. Autotune, same gig. Isolate errant partials, yank them onto ratio perfect rails. Equalizers, vocoders, noise-cancelling headphones. They're all Fourier faders at the party, deciding who gets in and who's left queuing in the rain. Fractals at the piano. Fractals are patterns that rhyme with themselves no matter how far you zoom. Coastlines, broccoli, and, yep, Mozart. His "À vous dirai-je maman" variations nest rhythmic cells inside bars, inside phrases like miniature Russian dolls. Bach does it in the Goldberg aria. The bass line's first 5 notes, G, D, G, B, D, later expand into 5-note motives stacked across movements. That's musical self-similarity, fractal dimension approximately 1.3 according to one cheeky 1999 paper. Modern producers glitch sample snare hits, then feed them through delay lines whose taps shrink by 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, until the echoes form a Coke snowflake of percussion. Press mute and stare at the waveform. It looks like a jagged coastline lapping a digital beach. Mathematicians call the recipe iterated function systems. Musicians call it that wow the crowd build and release thing. Same algorithm, different dance floor. Information theory picks up a Viol. Claude Shannon taught us that messages crave economy. Fewer bits, same meaning, chef's kiss. When analysts crunched Bach chorales with entropy software, they found his note-to-note predictability hovers at 1.9 bits, low enough to sound coherent, high enough to dodge boredom. Pop choruses usually sit around 1.2 bits, catchy but cotton candy simple. Webern at 3.6 bits, brain not avant-garde. Bach is Goldilocks sipping just right porridge. Collier's hook strategically repeats the motif every 8 bars, but spices each return with 17% novel content, measurable, landing smack in the optimal surprise window that keeps the Spotify skip finger hosted. Your auditory cortex giggles. I knew that would happen. Wait, did I? The Circle of Fifths, musical Rosetta Stone. Draw 12 equidistant dots on a clock. Jump clockwise by 7 steps, C to G to D to A. Voila. Circle of fifths, a Z12 modular walk. Hip-hop beats pivot V to I, cadences the way number theorists, pivot residues, mod 12. Jazz players talk tritone substitution. Mathematicians mumble intervallic inversion. Same dance, different dialect. Coltrane's giant steps sprints around the circle in major third warp jumps, multiplying by 7 then by 7 again. 7 squared is congruent to 1 modulo 12. That's group theory disguised as sax flames. Flash that on your fretboard and you've essentially plotted a Cayley graph in nickel wound steel. Visual cue for the club. Animate chords as glowing dots orbiting the clock face, each VI resolution snapping like magnetic dipoles finding north. Prime number beats and other party tricks. Ever try dancing to 11/8? Your feet revolt until measure 3, when the pattern finally loops at 33 beats, least common multiple of 3 and 11. Prime meters force the body to cache longer temporal sequences, neurological CrossFit. Indie composer Robert Schneider stacks 13 beat drums under 17 beat synth stabs. After 221 pulses, they align, a cosmic downbeat you feel in your sternum. Drummers call it big cycle polyrhythm. Mathematicians call it the Chinese remainder theorem with symbols. Want instant bragging rights? Program a riff in 97/64ths time. Friends will assume you're lost. You'll secretly be saluting the largest known prime under 100. Nerd flex. Why it matters. Your brain on math. fMRI scans show Broca's area firing for algebra and for syncopation. Predictive coding models treat melodies as Bayesian priors updated at 120 Hz. When the beat drops and the chord hits that juicy ninth, your striatum issues a dopamine dividend identical to solving a puzzle. In other words, dancing is theorem proving for people wearing glitter. Infants as young as 2 months entrained to 3-2 polyrhythms, long before they can count Cheerios. The math isn't learned, it is lived. Music is perhaps the only calculus class that begins in the womb. Your turn. Compose by numbers. Ready to weaponize today's math? Follow the recipe. Step 1. Choose a tempo with 3 distinct prime factors. Try 105 beats per minute, 3 times 5 times 7. Step 2. Draft a 16-bar loop. At bar 10, approximately phi of 16, drop the bass. Goosebumps incoming. Step 3. Bass line. Root jumps follow the modular path. +7, +7, +7, circle of fifths. Step 4. Hi-hat pattern. Euclidean E3-8. Ghost notes in between using a Fibonacci velocity curve. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. Step 5. Bridge in 11-8. Resolve to 4/4 chorus. Audience stumbles, then sticks the landing. Export. Upload. Watch the comments flood. This slaps, but I don't know why. Smile knowingly. Finale. The infinite encore. So next time Colliers subdrops or Bach's fugue spirals, picture ratios pirouetting, primes high-fiving, sine waves folding like origami around your ribcage. Mathematics isn't the backstage skeleton of music, it's the neon choreography we've been grooving to all along. Class dismissed, go spin some numbers. And if anyone asks what you're doing, just wink. Solving for X with extra reverb.